Is that a train coming? Or is that a light at the end of the tunnel?
Sunday morning, clear blue skies. I got you a big surprise. Engine 3801, puffing and a puffing and ready to run. All aboard, calls the station master right on time. Gotta clear the line. What a way to spend the day in the country. Look outside, say goodbye to the harbor ships and seagulls high. Let the track take you back up the valley to Moroni, and along the way stop at Maitland Station for a while. Gonna go and stop. What a way to spend the day in the country. You're by my side, going on a train ride. Next stop, Singleton, Muscle Brook, Aberdeen for a wee quick look. We'll see a horse or two in sky. Coal mines on the way. Way back home, dairy cows wandered all along the riverside, side by side. What a way to spend the day in the country. You're by my side, going on train. Way side by side, going on train ride. All on a train ride. Going on a train ride. On a train ride.
Howdy, folks. Welcome to Amos Sewn 84. Today is 22nd day of the 9th month, 2023. Another walk along the path that I just sort of put in the background of it. Just a quick show today. I've just got a bit of news items to read to you. I don't know if you've all heard it in the MSN, if they call it. Yeah, let's see if I can get it up on screen. Yes, apparently I've been dropping out, folks. So that might not have gone through. But anyway, I'll carry on as if it's really happening, shall we? A big hello to all the people in BitChute land. Anyway, let's get this one happening. Federal government defends co-flu inquiry as lockdowns and border closures locked out of the scope. The Finance Minister has defended the scope of the newly announced inquiry in response to co-flu-19, despite chairing an inquiry herself that previously recommended a royal commission. Folks, the shit that went on over the co-flu situation, there may have been some corruption, do you think? Do you think it needs a royal commission? And will a royal commission make a difference anyway? That's the thing, isn't it? You know, will it make a difference? But this inquiry, they've got a year to do it, They then they got to report to the government, and of course they'll probably be moved on by then. There'll be something else will happen sometime in the next year, so that people are not watching the target. But it's not to come up with any sort of recommendations that'll make any difference. Maybe I'm a bit cynical. Maybe things will be well, and the world will be a better place. But mind you, the what do you call them? The state governments and stuff. They get a free pass. What's the go with that, eh? The scope has been criticised by the opposition, with the terms of reference excluding unilateral decisions made by the states and territory governments. Deputy opposition leader, whatever her name is, described the inquiry as a co-flu cop-out and called for the government to turn the inquiry into a decent royal commission so that people can get the answers to the questions they deserve post co-flu 19. Yes, well, yeah, the opposition's always making the right noise, aren't they? Let's see how that goes anyway. Oh, and just to keep you worried as well, there's something else happening. No, it's not you. It's oh yes, the Who. Who? Yes, you may well ask. The Who. World Health Organization. That's their real sort of name, I guess. Is closely monitoring another new co-flu variant. Nickname is Parola, and here's what we know about BA.2.86. And it doesn't tell you what it really has to know. But the World Health Organization, WHO, is closely monitoring a new co-flu variant BA.2.86, which has been nicknamed by the scientists, and I'll just read that. So here's what we know about the strain so far. It is only being detected in 4 countries. Denmark, Israel, United Kingdom, USA. Yes, the BA, whatever it is, considered a variant under monitoring. The WHO said it made the classification because due to a large number of mutations it carries, it has 3 classifications for co-flu variants. Variant under monitoring, VUM. Variant of interest, WOIN. And variant of concern. Of concern, yes. I'm concerned. Are you concerned? You scared yet? By declaring a VUM, the WHO calls for the global review of the strain's epidemiology and the tracking of its characteristics and spread. By comparison, a VOC, VOC, it's almost Vulcanese. Anyway, VOC is a declaration that calls for more extensive response. Lockdowns, violent police, etc., etc. You know, we've been there before. What's coming? The WHO is currently tracking 7 VUMs in their descent lineages. And there's a list of numbers. And here's the guys. How bad is it? Oh, disconnected again. Well, you guys watching on BitChute don't have to worry about that because you're getting the recorded version. Yes, well, what's happening? I'll just have a quick look on the other stations. Any comments? No comments. No one's watching. Yep. Who's dropping out? It's maybe the time of day. Friday afternoon. Lots of people are trying to get their work done before the weekend. Happy weekend, folks. Anyway, how bad is it? We don't know yet. The more data is needed to understand the COVID-19. Did I say COVID? Co-flu variant and the extent of the spread. The WHO said. Who? But the number of mutations warrants attention. WHO will update the countries of the public as we learn more. Yes. WHO. Yes. They'll keep us safe, folks. They really care for us. Meanwhile, the vaccine companies. No, that was another story, wasn't it? Yes. Didn't write a note about that one. But yeah, the vaccine companies are, apparently, yes. The you know this vote thing happening in Australia about the voice. Yep. Well, apparently Pfizer's back in the yes vote. Well, what does that tell you? I don't get it. Yeah. What is? Why do drug companies have to intervene? Yeah. Well, they're intervening anyway, aren't they? Anyway, back to the news. Uh, no, I haven't got a link for this one, but Yala, Lawn Power Station down in Victoria. It's a big old power station. It's going pretty well apparently, but it's getting closed down in a few years. But don't worry, folks. It covers about a quarter or something of the Victoria's power, which is not a small amount. And apparently they're going to shut down the power plant and then put a battery in its place. That'll work, won't it? You got a generator there and a battery, but we're going to shut down the power station. How does that work? Oh, yeah, they've got all the offshore wind turbines coming up. They're all over the place, I'm sure. Do they work? Jury's out. I've heard evidence that's saying that then they need coal-fired power to spark them up in the first place, and they're not really efficient. I've heard, but who knows? Okay. Oh yes, another little. I'll tell you that one later. Let's go back to the other news story. That's how bad is it? Yeah, we know it's bad, but I'll bring the page up and oh yes, I guess it. OBS is deconnected again. How typical is that? Eh, no one's watching it anyway. That's okay. But anyway, well look, YouTube seems to be happening. Anyway, I don't know if you heard of, what's his name, that bloke with the glasses just there? I don't know if you've seen his head before. He's Australian bloke, apparently, and he's real successful at the media and not so successful with his marriages though, apparently. He's had a few. Had a few children too, but they'll be right. Well, anyway, let's give a little bit of a rundown of Mr. Murdoch, whatever his name is. Lawsuit and abandoned engagement and more lawsuits. Rupert Murdoch's 2023 hasn't been a happy one. Oh, poor Rupert. Anyway. Disconnected again? Oh, well. Happy days. Connected. Hello, folks. I'm back, I guess. Rupert Murdoch is not having the best year. The 92-year-old has spent 2023 inundated with billion-dollar lawsuits and dealing with messy engagements. With his announcement that he's stepping down as chairman of Fox Corporation and News Corp, the media mogul is set to leave the outlets he built with some dents in his reputation. Dents in his reputation! You reckon he's got some dents in his reputation already? Well, it's a news service. It's my opposition technically. They are the old media. Me and well, the other people, they call it the alternative media at the moment, but I like to call it the new media. And this is what you're going to get. Well, I'm basically just giving you opinions of my news, but the news that I get. But in the future, I'll be taking the bus to the road and I'll be reporting live stuff. So, coming up sometime before the end of the year, I'm going back to Canberra. Not sure when or where yet, but Canberra's a calling again. Because that's where the big shit happens, I guess, doesn't it? Well, not really. It happens in probably London. You know London? You ever, or the not London as in the city, but the little square of London that's not really England. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look up the City London thing, and there's some pretty scary shit happening there. And all the banks are there. Anyway, This guy is a good friend of the banks, I think. The 92-year-old has spent 2023 inundated yet. Do you read that bit? Dominion's day in court. That never happened. Yes, that's a weird one, this one. Well, it's got to do with, he's going to court, but one of the United States' most anticipated trial juries of 2023, disconnected again, was Dominion voting systems. Maybe that's why I've been disconnected. Defamation case against Fox News and the Fox Corporation. Dominion sued Fox for its coverage of the 2020 presidential election. Multiple Fox hosts allowed guests to spread outlandish conspiracy theories, and the company's voting machines helped the Democrats steal the election from the then President Donald Trump. Heaven above, surely not. Some hosts themselves spurred the conspiracies that Dominion deleted 2.7 million votes nationwide, or that associates of the Venezuelan dictator Hugo Chavez were behind the company. Seriously, folks. That sounds like a bit of misdirection if there ever was one. Can't make this up. Well, someone made it up. It's in the news. Is it true? Is it? Yeah, who knows? Yeah, I don't. That's one thing I do know. And I don't know. Anyway, Dominion originally tried to directly appeal to Fox and to stop the claims being broadcast. Oh, please. But the conspiracy had taken root in the minds of many. Dominion says its employees were harassed, enduring stalking and death threats. In the lead up to the full-time trial, it became a real possibility that Murdoch and the high-profile Fox stars such as Tucker Carlson and... is he still there? No, he's not, is he? And Sean Hannity, I've no idea who that bloke is, would have to testify publicly. When the first day of the trial arrived, the public gallery was packed, but the judge and jury were nowhere to be seen. Seriously. After several hours of confusion, Judge Eric Davis excused the jury and announced the parties had resolved the case. The settlement cost Fox $787.5 million, or $1.17 billion in Australia, and saved a Murdoch from an extremely public grilling. Yes, that's the news, isn't it? Isn't that interesting? Yes, nothing to see here. Do you believe this shit? I do. Well, because I'm an idiot. No, I don't believe anything. I believe things. I believe what I know, and I don't know much. Anyway, we did that one, didn't we? I'll tell you what's happening over at RT. Let's have a look at RT. There's some stuff happening over in the rest of the world too, you know. This is Australia. And a lot of my audience is from the rest of the part of the world too. Some Australians, and it's really... hello to everyone all around the world. There's something... Ukraine became military laboratory, Senator Pentagon official. Yes, that sounds right. India clears women quota after 25 years of wait. Oh, that's a while. Why Russell Brand is unlikely to face actual justice. He's already had trial by... come on, is this going to work? It doesn't look like it wants to. Disconnected again, folks. Anyway, you heard about the Russell Brand thing. He's look him up on YouTube. He's got a site. He hasn't been thrown off because to me it sort of smells a bit. He's been criticised for whatever he did years ago, and well, it's not known whether he did anything wrong or right. And yeah, well, because we don't know. You weren't there, and there's people's testimonies can be paid for, you know. Not saying that someone's been paid for anything sort of thing, but see, it seems funny, like in how the way they, you know, if someone's saying the wrong things, like Russell Brand was used to be a big part of the mainstream media, he was a movie star and all that sort of stuff, and then something happened, I don't know what, and he ended up off the air, and he started up a YouTube channel doing his what he thinks, which is, I haven't watched a lot of his work, but what I have watched, he sort of, he gives it a go. People say he's a controlled opposition, but any opposition is an opposition, if it's an opposition, opposing the actual fact that we live under a tyrannical communist type dictatorship thing. You think? No. Of course, surely not. Anyway. But he's having some hard times. And because, well, it's another news story and it's all over the news. Oh, right. Back to the news. Got the stories come up, so I'll see if I can get back on the screen and what time is it? Okay. Why Russell Brand is unlikely to face actual justice. Trial by media and public opinion leaves no room for the accused to defend himself. That's the whole idea. That is the whole idea, isn't it, unfortunately? Well, Graham Heiss is an Australian journalist, former blah blah blah. Last week, the controversial comedian and movie star Russell Brand became the latest high-profile target of the Me Too movement. This should not come as a surprise, given that his sobriety, no, celebrity status and sordid history of self-confessed promiscuity. The other word, promiscuity. Brand has been the potential target in waiting for some years. Well, there you go. It's probably just a matter of time before the powers that be decided they wanted to give him a bash, because it's just another little distraction from what's really happening. What's really happening? Well, who knows? We're not supposed to know. We're all here guessing, and we don't really sort of know, but we give it a go, don't we? Anyway, here's another story. Oh, yes. United Nations urges world leaders to write a different culture at Climate Ambition Summit as aspirations falter. In other words, no one's listening to them. Yes. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres is no stranger to colourful language, and his impassioned plea at the Climate Ambition Summit held in New York, one of those words, on Wednesday was no different. Humanity, this is the statement that got me, folks. Humanity has opened the gates of hell, he said in his opening statement of the it's a one-day little confab where a bunch of the concerned people get together and have a bit of a chat. But yeah, fancy that being in his first recorded statement. That's... You think they're kidding, folks? You think they're kidding? Yes, well, they may well be, but they want to kill us all. That's just got to get used to that, folks. Anyway, I'm talking a lot, aren't I? Anyway, I just need some refreshments. Then we'll get on with the news. This is the last story, folks. Except, actually, I've got another story later. Disconnected again. Hello, YouTube. You really love me, don't you? And Twitch too, I guess. Is Twitch going? My computer's having issues. Actually, well, anyway. Let me just have a quick look at restreams happening, which is good. Let's have a look at chat or restreams. Nothing's happening on chat, I don't think. No, not exactly a single single chat, but that's okay. Use people on BitChute, you get it all. You get the good stuff. Yes. Climate action is dwarfed by the scale of the challenge. If nothing changes, we are heading towards a 2.8 degrees Celsius rise, towards a dangerous, unstable world. Do you think it's not dangerous, unstable now? But the future is not fixed. Indeed, folks, it is not. is for leaders like you to write it. No, it's for fucking us people to fucking do it. It's not up to leaders, because they have abdicated their right to be leaders fucking centuries ago. Sorry that I shouldn't have to apologise for swearing on my own show. No, I won't. Anyway, let me withdraw that apology. The summit was designed to be a boost for the countries to up their ambitions in the lead up to the annual UN climate change conference known as COP, or COP Out Conference of Parties. So, how is the world tracking in meeting its ambitions to reduce fossil fuel emissions and slow global warming? You'd stop using fucking fossil fuels now and it's still not going to make a difference. Anyway, what did the numbers tell us? We're falling behind. Well, that's enough of that numbers, isn't it? Yes, we're falling behind, folks. We're not up to the agenda. Anyway, I was in. You saw me last show. I was did a bit of a walk through. What do you call it? The Smart Living Festival or something. And amongst that, there was a Forest of the Fallen, which I showed me last show. And now I was there. I got a newspaper, The Light Australia. It's a free paper that it's around. There's a site. I should read out the site. When I find it, I'll let you know. But I thought I'd read the front page for you. I mean, reading's not real good. I've had a few beers and you can probably tell. But I enjoy it, and you're a captive audience, so you just have to listen to me or you can turn me off. I don't care either way. Anyway, there's a headline. It's a senator. Malcolm Roberts. Don't know who he is. Do you know? Some people do. Apparently, I've heard his name before. Anyway, Australian senator raises concerns for the bank's savings. Got any money in the bank? I don't have to worry about money. I haven't got any. Yes, well, anyway. With the failure in early May of the First Republic Bank in the United States, the 2023 financial crisis has passed the global financial crisis of 2007. So, whatever happened the other week? Do you remember the First Republic Bank? Remember that other one? What is it? Bloody Silicon Bank or whatever it was. That went under, and it's big news, but this other bank went down first, and apparently it wasn't good. So how safe is your money in Australia? In 2008, a government introduced a bank deposit guarantee, and if the bank failed, you'd get guaranteed up to $250,000. And, well, most of us dream of having $250,000. Some people got a lot more than that, but I got about $250,000. No, anyway. In 2018, the next government made changes to the bill so that financial sector legislation amended Crisis Resolution Powers and Other Measures Act. Other measures. What are other measures? Which was supported by the other party at the time. The change introduced words that allow the bank in crisis to bail in depositors' funds. You've heard them bank fails, they bail out. Government chucks them some dollars. But there's a new rule in town. And it gets worse. This change introduced... Yeah, right. To this day, the public still believe their first $250,000 in their account safe. Don't worry. Bank fails. The government will give us money back. Well, a false belief that is, I'm afraid. But anyway, before explaining why, here is a short background on if a bank gets into trouble, the government has a choice between two options. Prevent the bank from failing. Firstly, conduct a bailout, which the government injects liquidity into the bank and keeps it afloat, either as a loan or a return for equity, Or there's a bail-in. Well, actually, the bailout, people get their money back and the government owns a bit of the bank, then it's all good, supposedly. Secondly, allowing the banks to conduct a bail-in, which is where cash is held in deposit accounts and taken into the whole or part by the bank to save themselves. In return, the depositor receives bonds or shares in the bank, which are of course worthless for many years and potentially worthless entirely should the bank still fail. Yeah, you got a bit of paper. It's not money, but it's a bit of paper. And well, if they go well, you'll reap the benefits. Yeah. Has that ever happened? If it did, we would never let to know. Anyway. In 2016, the International Monetary Fund, the G20, decided to ban bailouts. Instead, the world financial overlords require that rescue funds must come from the shareholders and depositors. So therefore, you ever heard about bailouts? I mean, in 2008 they did bailouts for the big banks and stuff like that, and everything was turned out rosy. And now, the Monetary Fund of the G20 folks said, no, we don't want that to happen anymore. They just want to take your money. Because if you take their money, they're not happy about that. They want to take our money. Just as well, I haven't got any. What about you? You got any money? Take it out of the banks. Buy some silver. I don't know. I'm not giving financial advice. I'm broke. So what do I know about finances? Anyway, I think that's enough for one day. The Light Australian newspaper. I've had a brief look through it. It's looks interesting. I'll find a link and I'll put it in the description somewhere. But the website is www.thelighaustralia.com. That shouldn't be that hard to find. And yeah, I'm going to show you the comics. It's got a comic section. And it's on page 2. How cool is that? Yeah, got to have a comic sections in the newspaper. Okay. Who wants to ask all the wrong questions? That's pretty good. On the other one, climate change, dear Watson. Yes, well, what? And there's some other. Page 3. Could Australia be about to lose its sovereignty? Anyway, I'm not going to go into it. I've been on the air for half an hour now. I was only going to do a 20-minute show. Normally it's... Anyway. Hope you enjoyed the 84th episode of Amos Sewn. I enjoyed making it, as you can tell. And I'm not that drunk. A little bit maybe. Only about 5 beers. That's not much, is it? My liver's screaming out. Oh, no more. Anyway, be good to each other, folks. Because that's really where we stand. We've got to be good to each other. And, mate, build community. Get to know your neighbour. Because if the way things are going, there's a good chance the future's going to be pretty fucked up. Might not be too. Maybe it's all a conspiracy theory. No, it's just a conspiracy theory. There's nothing in it. Peace, love, happiness, and in Lakesh.